Gurmaigat Ken Corla. Look, when we're here dealing with the issues of special needs and disability, I would agree with what many have said before about it is all about delivering for our citizens who have a right, if we're talking about education or any other of those entitlements or rights that they should have, and that they should not be discriminated against on the basis of their special need or disability. But look, we all know if we reverse it back and we deal with the issue that parents face in an awful lot of cases, if we're talking about supports, if we're talking about those financial supports, if we're talking about housing, if we're talking about school and outside school, if we're talking about SLT or we're talking about occupational therapy, we know the difficulties. We know that there is no one place where these parents can go. Many have said it here about the fact that parents are forced into a situation of having to become activists. Sometimes they are lucky that there already are groups running where people have done that have already gone that hard road beforehand. But this is not the way it should be. I think many people have spoken before of just the fact that we too need a one-stop shop in relation to for parents to know where and what they can access. You know, many of us end up probably doing a haphazard job of that, and it's just not the way the system is. It's not the way the system should be. Look, if we're talking specifically about special education and ensuring that we can offer what people need, well, it's fairly obvious on some level. First of all, we have information. We have insufficient information in relation to what the need is, and then we have to be able to model into the future what the requirements are. It's just as simple as that. And then beyond that, we have to ensure that we have the resourcing, particularly in personnel, to deliver. And that's whether we're talking about SNAs, whether we're talking, as I say, about SLTs or OTs or what our psychologists, and you know, others have spoken about the difficulties when we deal with the individual job specs and the difficulties of workforce planning or the bits of work that haven't been done in relation to that. We know the difficulty for psychologists in relation to training and the absolute I suppose obstacles that are set in their way as regards costs. So it's no wonder we have ended up in the situation that we're in. And look, we all deal with parents who come absolutely frustrated in relation to CNOs, in relation to the NCSE. And here, I don't want to come down too hard on the individuals that are working in these organisations, because it's very difficult to offer parents what they need for their child, or to offer the supports that are required for children, to offer that place in a class that's full, to offer that SNA or that SNA service if it's not there for them to offer it. So therefore, they are set up to fail at this point in time. I agree with everything that has been said if we're talking about the modelling and the planning, and particularly if we're talking about streamlining Section 37A from the point of view of ensuring that we have the space, we have the places, and we have the classes, and that we can offer that up. Because at this point in time, we are facing into a situation where many parents, many children are not going to be able to be facilitated unless we can come up with a proper solution, and one that works straight away. Look, we've, like As I Am, have obviously come out with their figure of 267 children with autism that won't be able to get places. We've all individually dealt with many parents. We are over and back with the NCSE. We're dealing with CNOs, and we are not getting to the place we need to. And we are expending a huge amount of their time, our time, to not get the result that we need. And the fact is, until the point in time that we have we deal with the issue of diagnosing. We ensure that we can get the diagnosis, so we have the information on the need, that it doesn't take 2-3 years and beyond, and then that we can offer those interventions, and particularly those early interventions, which might mean that the interventions that are needed later are less so. Look, I'm going to finish up very quickly in the sense of saying my own son would fall into this bracket. And in fairness, we had him in St Joseph's National School in Dundalk. I can only commend the work they've done. I imagine he's going to O'Fee next year. I imagine the service that he will get there will be up to scratch. And to an element, I have to commend the school that has probably made up for many of the services that aren't necessarily out there at this point in time. But we need to ensure that all kids get that experience, and that's accepting that some will have more complex needs than others. Go on, Michael.